welcome to a new mini-series here on History of the Emblem called Fire Emblem Fanquest. Now here on Fanquest, I'm going to be talking about the Fire Emblem fanbase, events that shaped it, and pretty much everything fan-related. And what better way with the recent announcement of Fire Emblem Three Houses than to talk about one of the fanbase's most interesting moments, the wait for Fire Emblem 16. Or rather, the wait for the announcement of Fire Emblem 16. At the point of making this video, we're still waiting for the release. Now this series is meant to be multiple short videos in no specific chronological order, so feel free to make suggestions down below for what type of videos you'd like to see in this series. I already know that at some point we'll have to start at the beginning, so the beginning of the Fire Emblem fanbase is probably the next video. And before you ask, well, what about the Jugjo Weapons video? Well, that's coming as well. You gotta buckle up for that one. It's probably gonna be the longest video yet. I am still waiting for my script editor to get back to me on that one. Anyway, we've gone sort of off topic. Let's get into what this video is about in the first place. On January 13th, 2017, Nintendo livestreamed their Nintendo Switch presentation to much critical acclaim. Showcased in this direct were such hit Nintendo Switch titles like Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem Warriors, and Fire Emblem for the Nintendo Switch. At this point in time, Fire Emblem Switch did not have a name, or release date, or any gameplay to speak of. This is all we received. The fanbase was hyped, excited. The first home game since Radiant Dawn? What a surprise. 5 days later, the Fire Emblem Direct again presented the same information we had received, but this time narrated by the beautiful voice of Yuri Lowenthal, so obviously it was better.
Fate has brought us here!
Also announced in this direct were Shadows of Valencia and Heroes, both of which got much more screen time than the Switch release. But this was expected. With so little information ready at the time, surely we wouldn't get anything too telling. And we were right. We were very right. Fire Emblem Heroes was released 15 days later, and Shadows of Valencia 4 months following that. Fire Emblem fans were happy. Never before had the series been so popular and prevalent in the world at large, and more people rallied together under this one franchise that we all love. Heroes especially brought more people into the fan base, banking on its accessibility and nature of being easy to pick up. Needless to say, it was a good time to be a Fire Emblem fan. So months pass, we fall in love with Shadows of Valencia, and the fan base is doing well. Heroes is able to keep most people happy, but many still prefer the main series of games due to its complexity over that shown in Heroes. We want something new. Even fans who are introduced to the series with Heroes are interested to see what will be the first Fire Emblem game released while they are a fan. But information doesn't come. 13 Nintendo Directs come and go between the announcement of Fire Emblem 16 and its reveal, something that the fanbase is definitely not happy about. We discussed, and our discussions were shut down, and we discovered that our discussions were kind of getting similar to one another. And then it happens! The infamous Nintendo Direct. No, not the E3 2018 one, I'm talking about the other one. Yeah, the March 8th Nintendo Direct. Oh boy, sure it's the one where Smash Ultimate is announced and most people are excited for that, but at this point it had been 414 days since the announcement of Fire Emblem 16, and we still knew nothing. For most people, it was a minor disappointment, but slightly covered up with the announcement of Smash, but for the Fire Emblem subreddit in particular, oh boy. How do I even begin to describe the Kirby apocalypse? You could say that it was an endless circulation of memes and crushed dreams, all brought together under the fact that there would be no Fire Emblem 16 news. You could also say that it was an echo chamber of everyone just posting the same memes again and again, hoping that at least one of them would be funny, but to be fair, most of them were. I think probably the best thing you could say about the subreddit's Kirby apocalypse is that it was probably the most peaceful quote-unquote protest I've ever seen from a fanbase. Yes, there was still major salt, most were legitimately unhappy, but nothing ever got hostile. It was just a bunch of people sharing questionably funny pictures and making jokes, a bit disgruntled but still having fun. And for a community online, that's almost unheard of. It didn't really give off an air of angriness, but more of a we know we're not getting anything and we know we're gonna have to wait. And boy, did the entire fanbase wait. 96 days passed between the March 8th Nintendo Direct and Nintendo's E3 presentation. This brought the total number of days waited for Fire Emblem 16's announcement up to 510, or in other words, 1 year, 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. Not nearly bad as, say, Breath of the Wild's 5-year wait span, but still disheartening for a game thought to be releasing relatively close after its announcement. So, why should we care? Why is this relatively short wait compared to others so noteworthy? Well, the wait for Fire Emblem 16 was definitely impactful to the entire fanbase because it brought up a lot of conversation about the series at large. The Fire Emblem series was in a particularly interesting spot following the release of Fire Emblem Echoes because, well, it was suffering from a bit of an identity crisis. What made a good Fire Emblem game? Was it something like 3DS era Fire Emblem, or like the eras before it? Fire Emblem Fates, no matter what you think of it, didn't really make a lot of innovations from Awakening, and Valencia's release definitely highlighted that even more. It kind of confused fans. Was Shadows of Valencia a one-time thing? Would we return to more lighthearted approaches in the future? We just didn't know. And with no official information, Fire Emblem's identity crisis was largely up to the fans to discuss. And that's what we got. Multiple posts and threads of how I would fix Fire Emblem Fates. Does anyone else prefer Shadows of Valencia to the rest of the series? What I want for Fire Emblem 16. And you have to remember, Fire Emblem Heroes brought a lot of new people into the fanbase. The general consensus with everyone was that Fire Emblem 16 would have to overcome the series' identity crisis and appeal to both new and old fans. Somehow. And did they do it? They did it. On June 12, 2018, during Nintendo's E3 Direct, Fire Emblem Three Houses, the 16th game in the series overall, showed its first gameplay trailer, and it was not what we expected, in the best way possible. There was something for everyone to like. Signs of innovative gameplay, signs of better lore than what we were presented in Fates, signs of change, and change that was good. The fanbase all took the newest female character, Edelgard, and made her the most drawn character in probably the span of 24 hours. Heck, there were even 4 entries of Three Houses fanfictions not even 24 hours after the announcement on Archive of Our Own. Sure, spring 2019 is a long time away, but the wait this time will be different. Not only is there new stuff to talk about, but there's new stuff to be optimistic about. Female main characters wearing pants, main characters not wielding swords, actual lore and world building, all things we've been asking for years about. With this announcement, while we can't predict the future, we'll probably have a little bit more to talk about. And who knows where that will take us. There's a lot of talk to be had and things to point out from this one trailer because we've all wanted this for so long. The wait for Fire Emblem 16's announcement may be over, but the effects of it will probably last in the fanbase forever.